cover story conversation, we have with us Mr. Ram Madhav. He is a member of the RSS National Executive and also the president of the India Foundation. But Ram Madhav ji, good to have you on this conversation. It's first of all, congratulations, third term hat trick for a BJP government once again.
Thank you. I also congratulate the government through you.
That's true. But yeah, that is my next question, the connection, the relationship between the RSS and the government, because we recently had the RSS Sanchalak speaking, and what we interpret as some slightly a reprimand, or it was quite a stern message to the BJP government, saying talking about ahankar, talking about their behavior in the recent elections. What do you make of his recent address?
Firstly, the RSS BJP relations. This issue has been a fodder for all of you for a very long time.
With reason?
I must mention that, broadly speaking, the relationship is where it is. It has been the same always and all the time. As we always say, that we share an ideological umbilical cord, and that keeps us, us belonging to the same ideological parivar. But yes.
But who pulls the cord? Who pulls the strings, Raza? Who holds the cords?
In a parivar, in a family, all have their own roles, all have their own strings to pull. But specifically talking about what the RSS chief had said a couple of days ago, firstly, that a 3-minute edited part that has appeared on the media, mainstream media first and subsequently on social media, was a bits and pieces thing. It was actually an edited, compiled thing. It was not one full part of his speech. So it led to some confusion when he said something about we should not have ahankara. He was talking to the RSS cadres. He was telling that we all work for the country. When we work for the country, we should have this ahankara that I am doing it. We should do it with nirahankar bhav, without any self-aggrandizement. We should do it. It was generally the advice that we always give to our RSS cadres. So that I discount it. That don't take it as any comment against any particular individual or as any leader in the country or party.
Even your most high-profile RSS karyakarta.
No, that's why I said it was a very general suggestion to all karyakartas. I mean, and it's not the first time that he said it. We always say that when we do it with nirahankar bhav. But yes, besides that, he made certain observations. For example, he made a very profound observation about the discourse during the elections.
Yes.
The level of discourse, maturity of discourse should have been better. But that also you should take it in the general context. Since he talked about discourse, he was targeting any one person. Don't think like that. RSS leadership doesn't talk like that. I mean, subjecting one person to any scrutiny or anything. No, it's a general observation. We all have seen caste, religion, many other things have become, very, very vitriolic way of discourse happened. That could have been avoided is what he said.
Because we also know who, the discourse was done not just by ordinary workers and ordinary candidates. Discourse was done by the highest leadership of the BJP. That is why we're all wondering, was the message sent to, the Prime Minister himself or to the, cabinet and other important people in the BJP?
Oh, not just BJP. We have seen a very high voltage, caste-centric discourse happening, even asking questions, what is the population of your caste, how much share you are getting. These kind of things were raised by opposition. All this kind of discourse has the potential of creating greater social divisions. Society can be divided on many different lines. So that is where the RSS chief has cautioned, because our major concern always will be how do we keep the society united. So from that point of view, he highlighted whether it was religion which was used or whether it was caste which was used, could have been used in a more, more moderate or constructive way.
See, my interpretation is that he says the use of caste, yes, and even religion. Now, the opposition was using caste, the BJP and his allies were using religion. And he also said that the use of religion has also cast the aspersions on the RSS way of thinking, because Rahul Gandhi and all have said this is the RSS ideology to create a divide. And he was, of course, talking about the rhetoric of the elections that, say the ye inka parivar ka pura thinking hai. So, is that what he was thinking? Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course. That's why he said even RSS name was unnecessarily dragged into the political discourse. Even doctored videos were released saying that RSS was against reservations, it is against scheduled caste, all sorts of such very deliberately mischievous propaganda was unleashed essentially by the supporters of the opposition party. So,
because they got fodder from the BJP. The opposition raised it, yes, but because the BJP leaders were also saying Mangal Sutra, घुसपैठियां, मीट खाने वाले, उस तरफ का भी तो rhetoric आया था that gave the opposition fodder for their comments.
Oh, that is the reason why the chief said that the discourse in the country could have been a little more mature, little more balanced, definitely lot more inclusive, rather than using these elections as an opportunity to create more division. That was the very important point that he made in that speech.
The other important point he made was regarding Manipur. Now, Manipur has been burning, and there's been unrest for over a year now. Why didn't he, reprimand the government earlier? Why was he waiting for a, government with less mandate so the RSS can again play a larger role to reprimand the government?
Oh, come on!
The timing of the comments.
Public
this concern for Manipur to pehle bhi tha, burning tha na, abhi thodi burn hua.
Come on, listen to me. Public memory and memory of you journalists is very short. RSS has passed a resolution 3 months ago asking for quick redressal to grievances in Manipur. RSS chief spoke about it in his Vijayadashmi address in last October. RSS has raised it time and again. Not the first time that chief is talking, looking at the political or electoral outcome of this country. That's why I'm saying, no, you are all interpreting it to suit your story because it's always a good fodder for all of you. But these issues we have been flagging all the time. On Manipur, the RSS has repeatedly raised the concern that, more action is needed, more attention from the government needs to go into, finding a solution to this standoff. Do you know the situation in Manipur is very, very saddening at one level and definitely very alarming. There are internally displaced people, tens of thousands of them, on both sides. Among the Meiteis, there are 60,000-70,000 refugees in our own country, in their own homeland. There are 60,000-70,000 or even more cookies in their own homeland. They are living in hills. These guys are living in the valley. So it's a very, very sad situation. And it's almost a year. So RSS has repeatedly raised it. Chief has spoken about it in a on-the-face way. He has spoken about it directly. He said government should find it as a priority thing and do something.
Because do they feel that the Manipur was not given enough priority by the government earlier? That they need a reminder again and again, as you're saying, every 3 months?
Manipur calls for major intervention to resolve this serious challenge, serious problem between the two communities. BJP, for whatever reason, got the message through the mandate that they got in that state. Both the seats, including the inner Manipur seat, we call it, the Imphal Valley seat, which was held by BJP. It had a minister in the government who won from that seat. BJP lost that seat also, and with a huge majority, huge margin, I must tell you. So there is a political message also from the state in this election. So there is a need to be more. Government has done some work. I know that Home Minister himself went to that state. Minister of State Home Affairs, Nityanand Rai, spent months there. Yet the problem remained. So more intervention is needed. You can't allow one such problem to simmer in one very important part of your country, which is India's northeast, very sensitive, very important. It cannot be allowed to simmer, linger on for, it's more than a year now. That is what Bhagwatji has, highlighted.
Okay. The other thing that he highlighted was that, Parliament is going to begin again. There's need for both sides to work in harmony, which also goes in with the rhetoric of the elections. But the mandate, is that the message from the mandate also? BJP did not get an outright mandate. That means even the country wants the opposition to be revived, and there should be some, harmony between the two.
Oh, yes. You see, right from the time of integral humanism of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyaya, the ideological position of all of us in the Sangh Parivar has been that, in the Indian context, democracy means building consensus. That's what Mohan Bhagwats has said in his speech, that democracy should lead to building consensus, but absolute consensus is not always possible. Then you go by majority. But we must understand that both the ruling side and the opposition side together form what we call as the parliament. So it's a very, at one level, ideological position. At another level, it's a very statesmanly observation about Indian democracy. There is no other intention in that. There is no effort to, tell anything to any one leader or one group. It's about everybody understanding that, we have to build consensus and run the country on the basis of consensus.
Do you feel that, so we've also seen this time the Prime Minister, soon after he sworn in his cabinet, he met Manmohan Singh, he sought the blessings of Devi Gowda, even former President Pratibha Patil, moves that we did not see in Modi point one, Modi 2. So do you feel that there is some effort of consensus building going on by the BJP? Maybe keeping in mind what the RSS chief said.
Oh, no. I mean, these meetings happened before RSS chief's speech actually occurred. So there is no need to link everything to that speech also. Prime Minister knows the importance of, keeping contact with all the senior and important leaders. And probably, yes, what you said is also right. When you are running a coalition government and when you have a strong opposition, there should be an effort from both sides, from the ruling party side as well as from the opposition side, to create a conducive atmosphere for the functioning of the parliament. So Prime Minister has done his part, reaching out to all the seniors and conveying to them that he is ready to work with the opposition. In fact, if you recall, Priya, in one of his numerous interviews that he gave to media, in one interview he said, last 10 years, one thing that I was missing was a strong opposition. I hope I will have a good opposition. He used two phrases. One line he said strong opposition I was missing. The second line he said I look forward to a good opposition. Now there appears to be a strong opposition definitely. But will that be a good opposition? Is a question that we all wait and watch. It should be a good opposition. He is making his efforts to send a message to them.
Okay. How do you read the mandate? Because it's not an outright mandate, but yet he's still the single largest party. The sum total of all the opposition, BJP is still the largest. So how are you reading the mandate?
This particular mandate has many messages for many people. I mean, both on the ruling side as well as on the opposition side. Those messages have to be carefully read by everybody. But at the end of it, democracy is also at one level. It's a game of numbers. In that case, NDA is definitely far ahead. And I must tell you, if there is any good, stable government is possible in the given mandate, it's only a government led by BJP with 240 seats. BJP is far ahead of its immediate next rival, which is Congress party. It's not even 100 seats. So the alternative to BJP-led government would be a government led by a party which has 99 seats. And we have seen the consequences of such a kind of a government in the past. You have seen it in the form of a government by Chandrasekhar, a government by Deva Gowda, a government by Aiga Gujarat. Such governments cannot last. And a government with 240 seats of the majority party and other parties supporting it will definitely be a much better, much more stable government. You take the message of the people as a mandate to BJP, although slightly diminished in numbers.
Okay, I'm going to take a break and keep the conversation going about the mandate, more messages, but after a very quick break. Hello and welcome back to Cover Story. We're in conversation with Mr. Ram Madhav, the member of the RSS National Executive. Mr. Ram Madhav, before the break, we were talking about the mandate, but I just remembered one thing, JP Nadda's comments. The BJP president's comments right in the middle of the elections, where he said that BJP saksham hai, we don't need the RSS anymore. We also told the RSS did not work as hard as they did for the BJP, which is why this reduced mandate.
Oh, I don't know the second thing. I don't know any party leader saying such things. The second part of it, that RSS did not work, that is why this mandate. No, nobody has said it. In any case, RSS doesn't always work in elections in the name of any one political party. That even BJP knows, everybody knows. And as far as that first part of the question was concerned about Ms. Nadda's statement, I have gone through that entire transcript of the statement, which was published in Indian Express subsequently. Actually, what he said was the actual organizational position, that RSS doesn't directly involved in electioneering, what you call, in favor of any particular party, except in rarest of rare occasions. I can recall only two occasions. One was in 1977. That was to restore democracy. The other occasion was 2014. There was a special reason for it. There were efforts to create a myth called Hindu terror in the country. There were efforts to drag RSS into that new accusation that it's a terrorist body and all that. Then it was decided that it's going too far by the UPA government. We must ensure that everybody's freedom is protected. Except those two occasions, RSS doesn't directly ever get into electioneering. At the most, RSS does what we call as Lok Jagran. We encourage people to go and vote. That's the only thing RSS does. Nadda was basically trying to explain that stated organizational position of the RSS, which as an RSS man he also understands. But maybe his choice of words, maybe the way it was presented before the country, taken out of country before the country, did create a confusion. As though he was saying we don't need RSS. He didn't mean that, we understand that. But having said it, I must add that there could have been an immediate clarification that no, that's not what was meant by the leader. Maybe because no such clarification came, it allowed for that story to continue for many days, create many confusion in the minds of many people, which could certainly have been avoided. But giving the benefit of doubt, I don't think that he actually meant anything like that, which was today being interpreted.
But at that time, it was interpreted, and especially, in the middle of an important election, this kind of comments did, I think, also have its say on the vote bank. This is what we are being told. Of course, you have your own interpretation.
Look, Ms. Nadda is a very senior leader. I'm sure he would have understood the consequences of stating things which can be misrepresented, misquoted. So there is no point in now talking about them. That statement came out right in the middle of the election. They probably knew the impact that it would create. Probably they assessed all those things and said those things.
Probably because the consequences don't seem to be in the public, at least. He's back in the ministry. He's got a good portfolio. So I don't see, any consequences as far as the public eye is concerned for that statement. But in terms of, people are saying this time the temple did not get you enough votes, which is very ironic because this is the election where you delivered on the Ram Mandir. How do you see that, interpret that? You lost in Ayodhya out of all places.
If assuming BJP had won all the 63 seats or even more seats,
you told us they would. As the BJP told us they would.
You would have asked me the question that don't you think using temple for elections was wrong? You would have asked that question. Now, since mandate did not go in BJP's favor, you are asking the question that probably temple did not work for BJP.
You still used it, but I'm saying can you now stop using temple and use some other issues?
Exactly. So temple, as far as RSS is concerned, temple or any other Hindutva issue was never seen as an electoral issue. It's another matter. Time to time, during the Ram Janmabhoomi movement, all parties tried to gain political mileage of the moment. Do you know that the locks were opened by Mr. Rajiv Gandhi's government in 1986? They wanted to get political mileage out of it. 89 Silanyas happened. Bhuta Singh was personally present. The then Home Minister was personally present at Silanyas site one day before he visited. He inspected the whole thing. And so when movement takes a particular it reaches a particular level, there can be some political fallout. I don't rule out. But the movement's objective was not electoral or not any specifically political. It was about restoring nation's pride, building a magnificent temple that was built there. Now, the results need not be directly linked to any one issue. As I said, I have been also in active politics for many years. I had been there. Right. I have overseen many elections. I know for sure that no victory or defeat can be attributed to any one cause, any one issue. There will be multiple factors. Each victory or each defeat has multiple factors. Political parties have to wisely dissect and understand the message behind success also, but also failure.
Okay, that's a very important statement. But just another looking ahead in terms of coalition building, people say that sometimes coalitions achieve more than one party rule, because you take consensus before you come up with whatever the reason is. How do you see coalitions versus one party rule? And how do you see this coalition functioning with two very strong allies?
No, coalitions have their own dynamic. Nobody denies that. Although Prime Minister Modi has been running a coalition government for last 10 years. NDA is a government for 10 years. But only difference was that in the last 10 years, the BJP had full majority in the lower house, in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha. So it was not at all difficult for him to pursue whatever agenda he wanted to pursue. Today's situation is slightly different, and this kind of coalition will have its own dynamic. I'm sure Prime Minister Modi understands it. And, running coalitions is not new for BJP. It ran a much more difficult coalition under Vajpayee. It has learned its lessons in 98, 99, 99 to 2004. The coalition was very successful. Much more difficult coalition. Remember, at that time, BJP only had 182 seats. It depended on its allies for 115 seats. Whereas the present coalition is much better placed when it comes to actual numbers. BJP has on its own around 240 seats, and it has the support of two main parties. And again, I must remind through you to the viewers that it was the same two parties which stood solidly behind Mr. Vajpayee also during that 2004. It was same Nitish Kumar's party and same Chandrababu's party which stood solidly behind Vajpayee and allowed Vajpayee to complete 5 years term. Then a difficult coalition then could complete its 5 years term. Why should anyone have any doubt about this coalition? It is much better placed. I'm very confident that this coalition will definitely be able to complete its term. And I'm also confident that coming forward, in future, more and more parties in the country will certainly realize that what Modi ji is trying to do in the country is good for the country, good for all of us. Let us also support him. Maybe it will have a much better position, much stronger position as the months pass by.
You're also going to be celebrating RSS 100 years soon. Will this message from the mandate have any impact on the tone and the content of the celebrations, the messaging of the celebrations?
RSS is not a political party. It doesn't run by what happens doesn't happen in a given election.
But will you play less of the Hindutva card, the Ram Mandir achievements?
No, let me tell you, when we celebrated our 75th, we could not celebrate 50 years of RSS because at that time there was emergency in the country. So we were RSS was actually banned. We celebrated our 75 years when the country was under Vajpayee's coalition.
Okay, that was very well organized.
When we celebrate our 100 years in 2025, it will be under Modi ji's coalition. So that doesn't really impact. RSS is not a day-to-day, as an organization, it doesn't have anything to do with day-to-day politics. And our agenda, our programs will be about the society, about the country, about our organization, about its perception. We will create a lot of activity about that, but that is 1 year away from now. It will start in October next year. There's a lot of time.
And hopefully a lot of time for many more interviews with you. But for the moment, thank you so much, Ram Madhav ji, on joining us and explaining to us the RSS position. But thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.